Good morning and Happy New Year. Today on Spotlight, a little deja vu, the return to the winter Detroit Auto Show. But this isn't your old auto show. There are traditions from the past, to be sure, but a bright new look into the future of a competitive global industry and how Detroit is embracing and rebooting one of its biggest signature events. Consumers in Motor City, get ready. Our guest today, Sam Clement, co-executive director of the Detroit Auto Show. It's Sunday, January the 5th. I'm Chuck Stokes, and this is Spotlight. And welcome to Spotlight, and welcome to 2025. Boy, here we go.
Here we go.
Another year. Sam, good having you back. You're doing well?
Yeah, I'm doing well. Thanks
You had a good holiday period?
I did. Very good.
Very good. A little blast from the past, but a big look to the future. The Detroit Auto Show is back. I think that's were your words exactly last time you were on this program.
Yeah.
Are we ready for this winter auto show again?
Very much so. Yeah, it's great to be back in January. I think you can feel the energy. I mean, the people that we've talked to are really excited to have it come back in January. It's such a staple of the start of the year for the city of Detroit. And to really tap into the momentum of the Lions, what we built off of the draft and the Grand Prix last year, it just keeps it going, and it's a great way to kick off 2025.
You've got some key traditions from the past, but this is a whole new show, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we'll always keep the foundation, right? So when you come to Huntington Place, January 10th to the 20th, you're going to see the cars. They're going to be the latest and the greatest. You're going to see them on the show floor. But we've got a lot more experiential stuff too. So we have 4 ride and drive tracks, which is the most that we've ever had. We have Bronco Mountain, we'll have Camp Jeep, and then we have our 2 tracks as well, our Powering Michigan EV track and our Grand Prix track, which is a mix of ICE, hybrid, and EV vehicles. So a lot more for people to actually get into the vehicles and get a chance to have their experience inside the cars.
The challenge is to grow the show.
For
sure. And you've done that in many ways, or at least you're attempting to do it. We'll find out when this big coming couple weeks are over with. But you've done it by embracing the technology and this generation.
Yeah, I think we have to. I mean, we haven't been in January in 5 years. So in a lot of ways, it's a reintroduction of what the show has always been to a new group of Detroiters and new Michiganders. And so, yes, we've started. We've talked about the campaign. I know you and I have the My Drive, My City, My Show campaign, where we're highlighting the stories of Detroiters and their love affair with cars. I think that's something uniquely
How has that gone over? Well,
it's been incredible.
But have consumers embraced that?
It's been incredible. I mean, because again, we're telling stories of people that maybe the public doesn't get to hear from all the time. We've had some high-name guys like Taylor Decker and Jalen Rose
with his Bronco,
with his Bronco, yeah. But we've also told the story of Patricia at the Henry Ford Museum. And so to tell these stories in a unique way that's truly Detroit has been special. It's really opened us up to new audiences and getting new people engaged with the show.
Yeah, very good. As you let's sort of give people a preview of what to expect, because this all kicks off with the press preview on the 10th, followed by the charity preview. But you walk us through.
Yeah, so we'll have the Automotive Press Association. They'll have their breakfast on the 10th. We'll have the NACTOY Awards, the Car and Truck and Utility of the Year. We'll announce the winners of those on the 10th. We'll have some media access earlier in the day, and then we'll have our charity preview, which, again, we're very excited for. This is an event that's raised $125 million for local children's charities. My predecessor, Rod Alberts, has done an incredible job growing that. And so we hope to give out even more millions this year. And then we'll have Flow Rida. You talk about energy and entertainment. You don't get more
big
name. And so it kicks off the week. But then the public shows that kick off on the 11th, the public days on the 11th, there's something for everyone. And it's a really chance for the city to come engage with the vehicles, but even more importantly, maybe just celebrate together as a city.
Yeah, this is not just about cars and about driving, even though that's the foundation and that's important. But from what I've read, the way you've embraced this particular show, you've incorporated arts, you've incorporated all the other things that are going on in the city that people are talking about, and the fact that people are looking at Detroit as this reinvented city.
It's a stage for the city to show itself off. And I've said that before, and I'll continue to say it. It's a great platform for us to showcase ourselves to the world. The city and its leadership has done a great job kind of re-energizing Detroit and putting us on the world map again. If we can take the stage and continue to drive home that message of what a great city it is, look at all the opportunities here, we have an obligation to do that, and I think we're doing a really good job of that.
And the timing couldn't be better with the Lions hot as a firecracker right now.
Yeah.
And of course, drama galore
Yeah.
coming down the pipe here.
As a lifelong Lions fan, this is incredible. I mean, we've never had a season like this, literally. And so to be able to have hopefully a couple home games, while the show is going on, is incredible. But if nothing else, there's an energy behind this team that is being felt throughout the city, and we hope to tap into that at the show as well.
All right, we're going to take a quick little pause for the calls. We'll come right back with more questions to Sam Clement, co-executive director of the Detroit Auto Show and the Detroit Auto Dealers Association. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back to Spotlight, talking to Sam Clement, executive director, co-executive director of the Detroit Auto Show. That coal will be dropping pretty soon.
A little bit, but we need Rod around. We need him around.
You mentioned Rod Alperts, who for over 30 years was executive director of the Detroit Auto Show and the Detroit Auto Dealers Association. This has been a great partnership and a learning experience for you, rather than to just hand it to you cold.
Yeah, and I can't be more appreciative of what Rod has done with that. I mean, we've been working together side by side for the past 8 months, and I think that's been incredibly helpful, because to be able to tap into his historical knowledge and have his guidance and blend that with some of the new ideas that I've brought to the table, I think has really created an exceptional show. The plans are in place, and I don't think we could have built anything better than what we've done. But it's a foundational year, and I'll continue to lean on Rod. Whether he wants me to or not, I'm going to be calling him and asking him for advice.
Yeah.
But he's been a great mentor, and I can't speak highly enough of how that transition has gone.
Yeah. Economic impact. How important is this show to the bottom line in terms of raising funds for this city and the support economically?
It's huge. In 2023, when we were in September, it was about $100 million in economic impact. And truthfully, that's probably one of the lowest it's been historically. I mean, we've had years where it's been $200, $300, $400 million of economic impact. But to put that into perspective, the draft was exceptional. They did a fantastic job, the work that Claude Molinari and his team did. And the economic impact they had for the 4 days of the draft was like $215 million, which is incredible for a 4-day stretch. If you think about that, though, even if we have just $100 million this year, every auto show, every 2 years reaches that same economic impact level that a once-in-a-generation NFL draft did. So this is a huge piece of the Detroit's economy, whether it's the restaurants or the local business who benefit from this. To be able to do this every year, and again, at the start of the year, in a time when it's typically slower from business, it's huge.
This is a global industry, extremely competitive, always has been, always will be. You've had past auto shows that you've been in competition with, whether it's Geneva or it's Frankfurt. They've gone by the wayside. Yeah. Detroit Auto Show has reinvented itself a couple different times. You've experimented with different times of year, and I know I heard Rod Alperts not too long ago say, if you aren't experimenting, if you aren't testing anything, even if it doesn't go the way you want, then you aren't really challenging yourself to be here and look into the future. Is that sort of how you look at this? And are you optimistic that this reboot, as well as changing back to the wintertime, is what Detroit's auto show needs?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Rod's absolutely right. We have to try things every year. The world is evolving, and if we're doing the same things over and over and over, that will get stale. And so we have to evolve with the times. And so if that is bringing in a new generation of car enthusiasts, if it's making things more experiential, if it's doing things throughout the year that aren't just at the show, just the 11 days where we can still talk about the show and talk about the economic impact of the auto industry in Detroit, we have an obligation to do that and to move that conversation forward. We're going to continue to try things year after year. This year, I think is going to be great. But I think the show will be very different in 3, 4, and 5 years, because we're going to learn on the things that worked, the things that didn't. We'll build on the things that work. We'll let the things that don't go to the wayside, and we'll find new opportunities moving forward. So yeah, we will absolutely evolve.
How many brands are you expecting to be there at Huntington Place?
So we've got over 30 nameplates that will be there at Huntington Place. So you'll see the Fords, the General Motors, the Stellantis of the world, Toyota, Kia. You'll see all of those on the show floor. We're bringing back the gallery, which is our ultra luxury area, which is really cool, because you may not see a Maserati or a Ferrari or a Lamborghini.
I'd like to see one in my driveway.
That's a good place. That would be a great place to see it, right? But you may not see that every day.
Right.
But to be able to come down and see all these under one roof, it is really cool. And it's one of those things that, if you're a family, these are core memories that you can make for years to come. And you get those pictures, and it's something you look back on 10, 15, 20 years and say, I remember when I went with my parents and I saw this, or I went with my friends and we saw this, and we had a great time. To see all of that under one roof, it really is cool.
You've got the Grand Prix, which is another big signature event for this city, closely associated with this city, even though it's global as well. But you've incorporated that into this show. How?
We want to have partnerships with great organizations in the city, and the city has tons of them. The Grand Prix is a great example. They're all about racing, they're all about technology and innovation, and it felt like a natural fit to have them have a presence at the show. So they're going to have a booth where kids can get involved and do a lot of different stuff. We're going to have Indy 500 winner Joseph Newgarden at the event, which is incredible. I mean, he's a champion coming to Detroit to show off cars, to talk about technology and the auto industry. It's an important relationship. We want to move them forward, and I know they want to move us forward as well. So it's a great partnership.
Automobility is a key part of this, not the first year for it. Talk to people about that, what you expect and what's on tap this year.
Dozens of startups that'll be there, again, talking about the evolution of the auto industry and technology. Really unique this year is we have a lot of universities involved. We have about 15 universities that are involved. And I think that's very important because, as I said, we're a stage for the city. And I think this is also a stage for us to talk about, creating careers and opportunities for young people. So if we can tap into our universities to talk about what are the skills that you need as a young person to elevate yourself in the auto industry or other industries that can make you successful and help you stay here in Michigan, I think that's a really good platform to do that.
Yeah, the panel discussions, you started before, but you're continuing that. Drill down a little bit on what to expect in terms of some of the panel discussions and how that plays into the future of this industry.
So those are our industry days, which are January 15th and 16th, and we'll have more than 30 different panels, about 80 different panelists having conversations. I think that, again, is critically important to have a platform and a stage where people are talking and communicating and networking about how we're growing. I mean, this is a rapidly evolving industry that matters not only to the city of Detroit, but economically across the world. And how can Detroit stay pace with that? How can its workers stay pace with that? What are the skills that a new workforce will need to make sure that they can have a central part of this and have something for their families? This is a great place to hear from industry leaders who are driving this industry forward.
And suppliers, they get a special time there.
Yeah.
Always have, but you're rolling it out maybe a little differently than in the past.
Yeah, so you're not going to see the suppliers with the displays like you have in the past. But I will say this: the show floor is completely filled, which is great, right? And so we invite those suppliers to come and have the conversations, to network with the individuals that are there. And again, I think that if we can show that this is a show that is evolving and evolving at a pace that keeps up with the evolution of the industry, we're going to get a lot of those suppliers back as displays and as people that want to participate in these conversations. I feel really confident that this is a year where we can show what's to come.
All right, take a final little break here, and we'll hurry right back with some more questions. We'll talk about how the community is going to be involved with this. We'll be right back. Stay with us. How are you rolling the community into this? Because part of this time when it's open for the public, that final day, is Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. holiday, which is always important, particularly important to this city because of the history, the rich history that Dr. King had with Detroit.
Yeah, obviously he gave his initial "I Have a Dream" speech at what is now Huntington Place at Cobo Hall back in the day.
Wrote it out here before Washington,
right.
D.C.
No better place to roll things out than Detroit. I would have to say.
Detroit tests everything.
That's right. But that's an important weekend for us, and it's an important holiday for the city, as you mentioned. The actual day, Martin Luther King Jr., the holiday, is on that Monday. We know that there's a lot of things happening within the community there, and we didn't want to pull people away from that. So we're having a special event on that Saturday, and we've engaged with the Divine Nine, the black fraternities and sororities in the city. They're helping us with a coat drive. We talked to Detroit Public Schools, and they said, look, it's a time of year still when a lot of our kids are underclothed, and they need warm hats, scarves, gloves, coats to make sure that they're, okay when they go to school. We don't want anything to take away from their education.
Right.
So we're going to host a clothing drive starting on the 11th all the way through the 18th, that Saturday. And then the Divine Nine groups, the Morehouse Alumni Chapter, where obviously Dr. King went, are going to help us sort that.
What a great school.
It's a pretty good school. It's
my alma mater. All right, go ahead.
My grandfather went to Howard, and so it's but it'll be
little rivalry.
A little rivalry, yeah. But it's a great connection to have that. And then obviously, on that afternoon, we're going to have some programming as well. And so we're going to have Detroit Public School children doing some performances to show off, again, their talent. We're going to have the Boys and Girls Club. They've got some real special projects they're working on. Going to give some presentations there. We're going to have a panel led by Jeremy Allen of the Michigan Chronicle with business and community leaders to talk about how we can collaborate as a city, not just in the automotive space, but collectively to move the city forward. And again, I see that as, it's not necessarily tied to the auto industry, but it's important to the city. And if we can be that stage where those conversations can happen, I think that's a huge part of what we're doing. So yeah, leaning into the community in that way. You know, we've got the Michigan Science Center, which is coming, and they're going to have a special display for children, so they can get, you know, their STEM skills. They can start working on that as they consider, you know, hopefully a future in the auto industry or in some kind of tech or design industry. So they're a partner. So trying to bring in as many community groups as we can to the show to showcase everything that's great about Detroit.
Sam, how have you used your expertise, your vision, the fact that you were a broadcast major, graduated from Michigan State University's communications school, past president of the executive director of the Michigan Association of Broadcasters, and the fact that social media is having such a huge impact on everything, but with knowing that field, knowing the broadcast field, using all of that to incorporate into this show?
I think people want to go places where they feel connected. And I think that's true now more than ever, especially after, you know, years of COVID. There was a loss of community, not just here, but everywhere. And I think that we've seen the city, Detroit, do as good of a job as any of creating events where people come together, we celebrate who we are, and we celebrate what we're about. That is exactly what we're trying to do at the Auto Show. That's why we launched this social media campaign where we've connected people to tell their stories. We want people to come together and be proud of this city. There's so much to be proud of. The auto industry is our core foundation of what we are as a city. And if we can use that as a platform for everyone to come together, celebrate all the things that are great about Detroit, and talk about kind of what's to come in the years ahead, this is a great stage for that.
All right, and have you been drinking all of your vitamin C because of all the media interviews that you're going to have to do, not just on this station, but all the stations, radio, television, newspaper, everything else?
I'm ready to go. And as you mentioned, my background in broadcasting, part of the Michigan Association of Broadcasters, I get to see friends. You know, I've got to see you a couple times, which has been great. And so no, the energy level is high. The Lions are a big part of that. You know, I'm fired up by what they're doing, so it's easy to keep the energy up.
Yeah, I know you're a huge Lions fan. Yeah, and I trusted you're going to be at all these games. Ticket prices, bottom line, parents out there, people interested in going to the show, what can they expect to spend?
We want to make it as affordable as possible. So, you know, $50 for a family, and that includes, you know, 2 parents, 3 kids, or $20 for individual tickets, $12 if you're a senior, $10 for kids for individual tickets. If you're a veteran, you can come for free. Obviously, we appreciate all the service of our veterans, so they can come for free. Industry days, it's a $40 ticket. That's a little bit different only because we have the panels, we have the industry experts that will be there. But from a public show days, $20 for the public, $12 for seniors, $10 for kids.
All right, and tune in to that special charity preview special, as well as other specials right here on Channel 7.
We appreciate it.
All right, Sam Clement, best of luck. Good luck with the show. We'll see you down.
Good to see you.
All right, and we'll be back in just a moment with a spotlight from the past. Welcome back. As we kick off our 60th, that's right, 60 year of Spotlight on the News, we thought it might be insightful and interesting and a little fun, as often as possible, to share with our audience a brief clip from a spotlight from the past and the many newsmakers from all walks of life who have graced this show. Longtime viewers may remember this one.
This is a year where you're concentrated on the security of the auto workers and their families. Security means income security. It was negotiated in 1990, and the continuation of that program. It means adequate pensions, and it means preservation of the health care program. That sort of security package. There's no question that the #1 priority, not only in auto, but steel and any other industry that's contracting, the #1 priority is security.
The public campaign. Where do we stand at this juncture, just a week or so before all the real festivities kick up?
Well, let me just quickly cover a few things. We've raised about $27.5 million.
Okay, and the original goal was $27 million.
The original goal was 27, so we're over goal. We've launched, I think, a fabulous education program for the public school systems, not only in Detroit, but outstate, the Tri-County area. We've gotten the city of Windsor involved, we got Macomb County involved, we got Wayne County involved, we got everybody involved in helping us put together, I think, a terrific celebration.
I always saw Detroit as the promised land. Part of the civil rights movement, we saw Detroit as a real bastion of support for civil rights. I Have a Dream speech was first given in Detroit, and Aretha Franklin sang, and she was a little girl then. Detroit, for some reason, gave up on itself. The revitalization of Detroit means that people have got to see that the central city is the best business opportunity on the face of the earth. There's more of an underdeveloped market right here in downtown Detroit than there is in China or in Russia or in Latin America or in Africa. And it's in the same language, the same legal system. And if you can't do business in downtown Detroit, and don't tell me there's a crime problem when you do business in Rio and Buenos Aires where they kidnap executives. You know, I mean, when people focus the business activity on the market of downtown Detroit and not be turned off just because a lot of us happen to be black, you're going to see this city take off again. And that talent of music, of preaching, of organizing, of liberal politics hadn't gone anywhere. We just kind of lost confidence in ourselves. But, you know, Detroit's coming back.
The road to Renaissance, what kind of vehicle are you going to be driving to be able to put Michigan either on the right or some would just say steady economic road?
Well, we've identified 6 ways, Chuck, that we think that we can do it, and I would say that there are achievable goals that we can get done in the next few years. One is to not walk away from the auto industry while we try to diversify the economy, but also trying to build out some new businesses through creating more entrepreneurs in this community.
How does this fit into 1D, or is this separate and parcel to that?
No, it's a key part of it. Think of it as really the first chapter of a 6-chapter book that we're going to be writing over the next few months. So those 6 organizations each have their own plans they've been working on for the last year or so, and they're going to be unveiled between now and the Mackinac Conference up at the Chamber in June. When we get there to the Mackinac Conference, you're going to hear about how those plans come together in one blueprint for the region.
That's it for today. I'm Chuck Stokes. We'll be back next week with more newsmakers in the spotlight. Have a great week.